Hey, welcome back to the Fanboy Cantina. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We are talking about the finale for Agatha All Along. We're joined by, I think, Mr. C. Mr. C, how are you doing?
It is me in here. I'm not keeping this thing on for the full time because, at the very least, the echo that it sends back around into my own ears. But Chai Star had been putting in requests. The Mandarin had been putting in requests for a little bit of costume re. So I thought I'd just do the checkbox with the little gusto to say we appreciate the contribution. There we go. There we go. We appreciate the contributions of a Chai Star. We appreciate the banter of a Mandarin around here. And knock on wood or knock on carving foam. Just wanted to say we're thinking about you, Chai Star.
That is glorious. That is glorious. Yes, Mr. C dressed up today. And yeah, I am. Yeah, no, this is a comfortable white long sleeve. This is all I got. All I got. Halloween over. It's 2, 3 days after. What? 5 days? I don't know how many days.
You see, in my mind and in my channel, I'm talking about the post party. Like, so here we are on November 3rd, but I'm saying we're figuratively October 32nd. The post party for Halloween continues.
Glorious. That is glorious.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm not doing the whole show with that thing.
Yes, right, Fanboy G is no. Every day is Halloween.
Let's get down to business.
Looks so absurd. Looks so obscene. Yes. So let's go. And yeah, okay, that's great. Well, all right. So let's dive in. We are talking about the finale episode of Agatha, well, actually the 2-episode finale of Agatha All Along. So in today's channel, we'll talk about overall expectations, feelings coming into the series, overall feelings about the series itself, and then we'll dive into the finale episode. And then, yeah, would you like to have a second season? So if you're in the chat, would love to hear from you. Post it in the comments. Would love to bring you into the dialogue. All right. So, yeah, it could be that I'm wearing a mask this entire time. Wouldn't that be a twist? Wouldn't that be a twist? Yes. Ruby Roo. Yes, indeed. All right. So last time we were together, last week when we were together, Mr. C, we talked about overall impressions coming into the series. But in case folks watching right now have not seen that previous dialogue, before diving into this series, before the series aired, what was your expectations level? Were you excited about the series? What was your feeling about Agatha All Along?
Well, recapping in shorter order what I had said last time, over the span, over the entirety of the MCU, going back to Iron Man, the first one. And you could go back to Blade, or you could go back to the Fox studios on X-Men, and you could go back to Sony on Spider-Man. But let's say the MCU proper, starting with Iron Man 1, there have been peaks and valleys, and, it was a crowded playing field. So I thought, maybe it would be best for the Disney Plus side to dial it back and have a lesser rate of production, to go for more quality and less quantity. That being said, as I'm watching Agatha with its twists and turns and stuff, it is more peak and not so much valley. It was, I don't want to say it landed well with me. I was trying to think, how did I say it exactly last time, about it was more than I hoped for, or it wasn't more than we got to watch the previous episode to know what I said exactly. But it's good stuff. It is quality. It is the writing, the acting, the cinematography, the building of suspense, the zigging and zagging between comedy and drama. All these elements come together very well into this recipe.
Absolutely right. And yeah, I don't remember what we talked about But yes, just to acknowledge it, today is Godzilla Day, the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. I hope you put out your tree or however you celebrate Godzilla Day at your household. I did not manage to get to the movie theater. They are re-airing Godzilla minus one, I think maybe only this weekend. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to miss out on checking that out. But yeah, Godzilla Day, that is a thing. And if you look in our playlist, there is a video of my experience going to the Godzilla Fest that happened here in San Francisco not that long ago, just a couple of months ago. So yeah. Did you do anything to celebrate Godzilla Day, Mr. C?
Not a thing, guy. And again, if we added up all the time for me looking over to the side for stuff that's just outside my reach because I didn't well prepare for showing elements, but I will
Yep.
go in a minute and pull the pinball Godzilla from Super 7 that you did pass my way. But for now, let's
Yep.
come back
Let's
to
go
good
back to
Godzilla.
what we're
Hey,
talking about. That's
Godzilla
why
is a
we're
big
here.
deal. We're here to talk about witchery and
Oh,
witchy things.
yes.
I got the Lego witch right here. She's been around these parts for a good amount of time now. Obviously with the green skin, she's got to be based on the Wicked Witch of the West. But let's cut to the current witch and the current coven and all the trickery. Back to the show.
Absolutely. Back
Exactly.
to the show, indeed. So, my expectations going into Agatha All Along before seeing an episode was pretty low. I really enjoyed WandaVision. You can check out the live streams that me and Mr. C used to do now 3 years ago when that show first aired. Hard to believe, right? And I thought it was an amazing series. Where is the story going? And then when you understand the direction of the story, this exploration of grief, so much about it is just phenomenal. It's among the best things that Disney Plus has had about of all of its Marvel series. It is truly top tier. And then after the events of Doctor Strange and the Multitude of Madness, right? Is that Multiverse of Madness? Multiverse of Madness.
You have a multitude with a multiverse. It's multi this, multi that.
Multi whatever. And then the just tossing aside of everything that had been set up in WandaVision and just reducing Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, to just a big bad that wants to see her kids, but not really fully explaining a lot, or how dismissive it was about that story. And there were so many opportunities to bring in the series and make it that more enriching and compelling of a story. But nonetheless, it's just this generic kind of villain for the most part, I felt. And then consequently for this series, because of my lukewarm feelings about how they had seemingly ended the Scarlet Witch story, it kind of is fine, right? Agatha All Along, it was kind of funny, but I had low expectations. But now, yeah, it's really up there for me among the best Marvel series that have existed. Probably Ms. Marvel is still my favorite, just in terms of the completion of the story. And yeah, I guess that by itself is kind of a talking point. Ms. Marvel, WandaVision, I don't know, whether one is better than the other, but it's up there. It's up there of top tier. So really enjoyed it, and it's proof that strong writing, strong storytelling makes all of the difference. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Any additional we've got a comment. Yeah, seems hey there, Jim Campbell. Seems the shows take way more risks than the movies. I think that's exactly right.
It's as though they had Jim Campbell sitting at the showrunner's table trying to say we need to ask tough questions to be able to pull out good material in the finalized product. I better check the credits again. Maybe we're going to see Jim Campbell credited on the old Disney Plus credits.
That's right. Yeah. And the types of swings that they've done, the boldness, just the boldness of WandaVision, right? From way back when, from 3 years ago. It is just unreal. It's hard to imagine, the Disney content machine taking a swing like that on the big screen. It's hard to imagine, for sure. Um, all right, so let's talk about the finale itself. Um, where should we start first? I've got my I got way too many notes off to the side here, but where would you like to start first, Mr. C?
Oh,
Uh,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
oh
I would
my
like to start
goodness!
with. Are you gonna pop it or should I
Oh,
pop it?
let's present it. Hey there,
The
Blue Sasquatch.
long-awaited return to these airwaves,
Wow,
Blue. How have you been?
this is
Man,
really
should
special.
we get your contact info, Blue, when we actually failed? Because I got an FBC coffee cup right over here, man. I'll slap it up in the mail. Blue Sasquatch.
Wow, it is
Man.
great to hear from you, Blue Sasquatch. That's really special. We used to have, for like a hot minute, a store here for the Fanboy Cantina, and then I ordered for myself. I don't. And this is a total sidebar. If you've used Spring before, which I think previously was known as Teespring, I think they are terrible. I am still waiting for my own coffee mug that I ordered literally a month ago. Yeah, so don't know what's going on here. Yes, it is a joy that you are here, Blue Sasquatch. Yes, and yeah, we are actually live. Yes, all right, okay. Let's talk about that first episode, first of the two episodes. Maybe let's break it in chunks here. So, with the first episode, I really appreciate how they started it with the moment with Alice, right? And how she gets up. You think maybe she's resurrected, or maybe they're going to do what you think they kind of would do in a TV show, where maybe not everybody's dead, but it's so gutsy. I was going to use a different word. So gutsy that when you're dead, you are dead. That was phenomenal as a
And
turn. I
again,
didn't
it's
expect that.
fantasy, it's legendary lore, it's sorcery, it's myth, but then they come at you with just that piece of realism. Like, who isn't going to want more time at the end of their time? Or it doesn't necessarily have to be life and death. There are moments in life where we know we're going to continue to live. Oh, I thought more was coming. I thought once I handled point of business A, that after completing that, I was going to be able to access this and that and the other. And so then the conversation between the character of Alice and the character of Death. Well, you're a protection witch, aren't you? Yes. Well, you died protecting someone, didn't you? Yes. Well, then you did serve your purpose. You wanted more, but you served your purpose. And they talk about the cold hard facts or the harsh realities of comings and goings. Like, again, it doesn't have to be life or death, but in this case it was life or death. And the finality to it was stark.
Absolutely. Just such a gut punch there. And with this actress, Ali An, I believe is her name. Didn't get much screen time overall in this series, but to have that payoff there with her, and to have there's such a tenderness and tragedy. There's so much going on in her performance, and it hits so hard and well. It's just a brilliant performance, and it sets the stakes, right? It sets the stakes. You figure, again, it's like a TV show. Okay, everybody's gonna be it's gonna be happy at the end. Everybody's going, yay, it was all just kind of a dream or something. No, people die. People actually die under unexpected circumstances. Really, really powerful. And yeah, time, it's a reminder, time is the most precious commodity. And the types of sacrifices and the types of the ways that people die are covered so much in this series. All right. So that was a topic that I had here in the finale. Um, I'm gonna do it one more, and I want to turn to you, Mr. C, on where you want to go. Um, oh shoot, Sashir Zamata
All
in
right.
her performance as Jennifer. Um, just so awesome, right? Here's an actress that was in Saturday Night Live, has had a career after SNL, and this moment that she has in the basement, as it were, and the kind of happenstance realization. I've just totally hopped over something. I just realized. All right, so let's play this one through with Jennifer here. But how cavalier um, Agatha is about inadvertently binding Jennifer here for 100 years to be without magic, and then how she turns right, and she puts the unbinding spell, and the amount of emotion that she puts into that performance was again another breathtaking moment. Yeah, I got kind of disregarded previously, like when you have Patty LuPone in a series, it's just she's gonna knock it out of the park, most likely. And then you got the rest. But here with the rest, just phenomenal performances by all of them. All right, that's what do you and anything that you would
I'm not
yeah,
familiar with her previous work, but
yeah.
every moment of screen time she had, her the face work,
Hmm.
the line delivery, all of it, and then so the sole survivor, right? So and then she gets to jet off. So of all the, let me be careful here because then it ties into the thing that disturbed me about everything.
Mm,
Of all those who didn't survive,
yeah.
she was the sole survivor, and then she got to fly off into the night. So at least for her, a saving grace in the story arc, if you will. So I don't know what to be more excited about. I'm equally as excited about her acting chops and the arc on which her character flew.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So I want to get to a comment here, but early in the series, one of the moments that Jennifer has is with Billy talking about Nicholas Scratch, and who he was and what happened with what's alleged to have happened to Nicholas, or what sacrifice did Agatha make in order to have her powers. Victor asks in the comments, yeah, who is Nicholas's father?
It, oh, I believe it's unstated. I believe it's current, open to interpretation and open to debate. If Victor has a speculation, we'll be glad to hear of it. Let me come at it in a roundabout kind of a way first, and then try to look at actual possibilities. It has to be Palpatine. It has to be Palpatine. I say that because I believe that I don't know these, but it was supposed to be that there was no father, that it was somewhat of an immaculate conception in the woods, in the witchy woods, and all that. But does that mean that I can't remember? I think she said it wasn't a conjuring. So and now, so I don't have the best answer for Victor. I can only speculate. But now let me, and I see we're getting other comments. But
Mm,
now, if we're going to do similarities and differences between Wanda Maximoff and Agatha Harkness, now
mm.
had child by atypical means, had complicated relationship with a child. All of a sudden, there's more similarities between Wanda and Agatha than I had realized.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, yeah. No, thank you. Thanks for the comment, and yeah, it might very well be that Nick doesn't have a father. It's clear that there's a relationship, right? They emphasize it multiple times in the series, the relationship between Death and Agatha. That is the relationship. There is seemingly no other in this. There's no live love triangle or anything like that. It's you just see the two of them. So It was entertaining to I think it's the first mention of Mephisto in the Disney Plus, or actually anywhere in the MCU. I don't know.
With MCU, so if we're going to take the Nick Cage Ghost Rider pictures,
Okay.
but we'll just have mentioned that because that's a whole other field. So we'll stay more within the current realm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mephisto. Yeah. I don't know. It is Agatha's father. I heard. Okay. So that could
That would
be
explain a lot.
that could be how it works. No, absolutely. All right, so I totally hopped over an important piece about the conversation between Agatha and Death about Billy, and we get a lot of. This was in my notes about some things I didn't like about the series too much. I felt like there was a lot of exposition that happened there, a lot of narrative. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna unfold a lot of story here through that brief amount of patter. But it is chilling to have the two of them together, and how Death chooses to, after they make the deal, she goes to the fake backdrop behind and just cuts it open. Right, this is all just a facade. Kind of echoes a WandaVision, and kind of a signal that, yeah, this is maybe all kind of made up, which actually, yeah, is a key thing towards the end. All right, where you want to go next, Mr. C?
Let's jump back to comments because we got some interesting counterpoint coming. So again, welcome around to how do we even say your name? As above, so below. Maybe that's relevant to the different layers of reality we got going here. Definitely good for some follow-up or some expanding. Now, and it's good to love the witches in the MCU. It's tripping, but now coming back to Victor, an essential cosmic entity creating a child. I don't think so, but it's possible. But I don't think it's not been canonized as yet within the current comings and goings of the MCU, which makes it trippy and good banter, good water cooler conversation, good comment section conversation. So, like we used to do back in the day, our Wanda in our Wanda Vision time. Okay. First impressions or first experiences with the character. So this takes us back into the good old Marvel Handbook of the Marvel Universe, Volume 1. Now, right, originally this was a 12-issue run, ended issue 12, and then they thought, wait a minute, we could go for, what's it say here, Book of the Dead and Inactive, Volume 1. Mm-hmm. And so crowded up on this. So let me first come into the credits. Right, we're not going to worry about the Airwalker, who's the goon for Galactus at the time, but right there at the bottom, Death. So this is written by Jim Starlin, who we'll know is the guy who writes Thanos, amongst many other things in his Marvel history. Let me just pull quickly here. It's kind of small print. My eyes are not 13-year-old eyes anymore, but this is a tribute to February 84 is when we're coming around. So now Marvel got so like it couldn't even contain itself to the original 12 issues. They're coming around. So now instead of putting an ad on the back page, I'm trying not to wrinkle it, but I mean, this is whatever. I mean, it's
kind of in pain right now. Watch
it's already
what's
not
happening.
Mid-condition. It's already, but so here comes the Marvel Comics, Marvel Universe entry for the character of Death in the Marvel Universe. And again, the MCU had Thanos trying to do some kind of 50-50 population reduction, but in the traditional Marvel on paper comics in the 616 universe, Thanos was looking to win favor with Lady Death. So now at the scripted hand of Jim Starlin, right here, let me just go, what is death? Asked Jim Starlin. Clinically speaking, it is the cessation of bodily functions for such a period of time that there is an irreversible damage to living organic tissue. Then he starts saying life force and life essence. Then he says certain adepts, such as a Dr. Strange or a Professor X, can cross over realms, and further compounding mystery that death is in fact in the Marvel universe, and the concept of death can take perceptible personified form. So, according to Starlin, in 84, we've got the character who is perceptible, personified form of the life force of, get it, the life force, the energy force of death.
Of death. That is amazing. That is, yes, Mr. C is the resident Marvel historian. Glad he's on our side. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely right. Yeah, I heard there's a new series is going. Heard a new series is going to start deriving from WandaVision and Agatha series. Not sure. I mean, it's certainly set up, right? It's certainly set up here in the finale, which we will get to. All right, so I'm going to hop around a little bit here um, with two categories of kind of things here. We see that, well, actually, it riffs exactly on that, right? We see that we see the beginnings of this next the platform for another series, for a season 2, right? Or season 3. I don't know how we count here, right? Is this season 2 of WandaVision, or is it season? Will we have if there was a sequel to this, is it season 2 of Agatha? But this moment, and it's really powerful, of what's essentially the rebirth, the reincarnation of Tommy, and it's under tremendously tragic circumstances, and there's more in that moment than there needed to necessarily be for storytelling, right? So it now all clicks. How Billy was reborn is from the car accident that we saw a couple of episodes back. Now Tommy is reborn because after he is seemingly drowned, but it's not just that he drowned. He drowned because of his family, that he is not loved by his family. As Billy is experiencing this, he's seeing all of this emotion and all the terrible situation that Tommy had, the previous Tommy has. There's a lot that happens in that brief moment, and ends with this really tragic statement from Tommy. Am I killing somebody so that my brother can live?
It's kind of a panic experience for a young teenage enchanted person, a young witch, to have to consider for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. It adds the stakes. It adds the stakes, and yeah, he doesn't. This realization, at least in this moment, of not wanting somebody to die for so that his brother can live. What did you think of the final battle that happens between Agatha and Death?
Well, see, how do you, death has the stacked hand. Trying to go against death is like trying to go against the house in Vegas or wherever else, right? The house has all the edge. So how do you beat death, right? It's so, well, let me say this. Did Agatha end up as a ghost or as an apparition or as a non-corporeal iteration of herself? Yes, she did. So then can we say death was the victor of the battle? I think that's a fair conclusion. But I mean, battle-wise, it was an interesting battle. Go.
Well, I loved it in that it felt appropriate for the series. My issue with WandaVision, it was actually the final battle finale, where I felt like, it was so grounded in a storytelling and the TV episodes, and how it's carrying her forward, and processing, trying to continue this relationship with her family, her made up family, right? But then it felt like, for me, the finale of WandaVision descended into the CGI. It's just like, okay, they're up above the skies of Westview, and it's this cacophony of CGI that felt, for me, like it was distancing itself from the kind of the grounded joy that I have with the rest of the series. And that's kind of like a persistent issue that I've had with many MCU movies, like with Quantum Mania, still my kind of a poster child of one of the worst offenders. It just, what the heck is going on with this? It's just all of the CGI as a cheat for not great writing, not great storytelling. So here, where the battle doesn't take that long, it's very short, and there's this quick acknowledgement: you can't beat death, right? You cannot beat death in a battle. So it felt just so appropriate, so in line with the series. It made sense to me. Yeah. Oh, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Yes. Love this comment that Agatha said she didn't want to see Rio's face after she died. Did she sacrifice herself, or did she know she would become a ghost?
Now, if she sacrificed herself, that's kind of a heroic act. And again, they played this character with such great ambivalence that I could find it hard to believe that Agatha would sacrifice herself unless there was something greater for her. She's no Ben Kenobi. She's no Ben Kenobi taking a knee at Vader's sword to advance young Skywalker to then later on conquer the forces of evil. I cannot imagine that Agatha is as pure-hearted as is a young Luke Skywalker. However, now I'm going to jump from Star Wars to early Marvel. So back in the more lighthearted, on paper, the 60s of Marvel, you have Doctor Doom and his time machine, and he wants to send the Fantastic Four back in time. And the specific arrangement was, bring me the treasure chest of Blackbeard. So there goes the Thing and Mr. Fantastic and Johnny Storm, and they're back on the pirate ship, and there's a treasure chest with treasure in it. But the way Victor Von Doom phrased it, bring me the treasure chest, but nothing was said specifically in this contract with the devil, if you will, about what would be in the treasure chest. So like what is said literally versus what is the spirit of a thing, spirit being commented on or agreed on. So in that way, I don't want to see your face. Then could the Rio death character say, well, you didn't see my face, but I ended your existence on the earthly plane. I was thinking something along those lines.
I watched this episode a couple of times, and the first time I saw it, when she makes this choice to sacrifice herself, right? Billy gets into her head. Is this how Nicholas died? Is this how it happened? And then she makes this change. She makes the pivot after centuries of not caring about anybody other than herself, seemingly. And then she chooses to sacrifice herself so that Tommy can, Billy, so that Billy can live. I didn't necessarily believe it at first, but then it's explained later in the second episode, in the second of the finale episodes, that it's because you remind me of Nicholas. That's why she's got that affinity. But I don't know, right? I don't know if she I believe that she would live on. It would make sense, right? Of part of why she why she would choose to sacrifice herself is that she believes that perhaps out of hubris or her own powers that she can cheat death. And if somebody can come back to life, like Billy, like Tommy, like Vision, could she come back? And probably her best bet is to bolt herself onto Billy. That makes sense. Yeah. In the comments, apparently Agatha knew she would become a ghost, and it was a loophole. See, so that would make sense.
Because she's no Ben Kenobi.
Exactly right. And I watched interviews that said there was minimal CGI. I don't know if I would believe that it's all physical sets, but it certainly felt grounded. And I think that's what makes it that much more compelling. And then, wait. Let's continue on this thread about, there's a point in the scene where she realizes that she will become a ghost. All right. So could she just leave then? Her weakness then is saying her son's name then. Yeah. Don't know.
Well, I'll give it that her weakness is reflecting on her son And then again, it's they want these kinds of conversations to go on. So admittedly, that or I'm being exposed for not having done my homework. I know there's so many interviews with Catherine Hahn out there, and as well as so many other professional YouTube channels without Catherine Hahn interviews that can cover this territory very well. And I didn't do that extensive homework on that, but I'll concede to what our commenters have
Yeah.
checked out on their own merits and their own research. The hits keep on coming in the comment section.
All right, so let's talk about the last moment of the last moment of the first episode of the 2-episode finale. We have the Kaiser Soze moment out of Usual Suspects. Billy is looking around his room. You commented last week when we were together, Mr. C, about the magician or the magic stuff and other kind of movies that are shown and other memorabilia in Billy's room. But now we got that Usual Suspects moment. But for him, it's realizing, oh my goodness, I'm the one that created this. Billy created this. That was amazing. That was amazing.
And let me add that last week I took the Houdini poster as a general reference to magic and magicianry, but now what was Houdini's greatest trick of all was to disappear, right? Or part of his, I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm a Houdini expert either, but of the more notable things he's known for is the disappearing. So Billy had disappeared. Tommy had disappeared. Wanda, is she? Then Billy at that other point before asks Agatha, is she alive? Well, no, yes, maybe. So just the elements of smoke and mirrors and disappearances is carried through in a lot of ways.
Sorry for coughing. No, loved it. Absolutely loved it. And didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. I feel like, you rewatch it, you feel like you should have seen it, but yeah, I did not see it coming. Yeah. All right. And yes, that was trippy. And yes, there's a video of the actors meeting for the first time. Really cool. I'm going to cough again.
Go right ahead, pal, or hit the. I can ramble a little bit while you're coughing, or if you're.
Throat got dry. Throat got a little dry. All right. Are we ready to talk about the next episode?
Let's do it. So again, in the terms of penultimate to ultimate finale, we've been saying it's episode 8. Now here comes episode 9. Watching them back to back.
Yeah.
Episode 9 dove into episode 9, rewound and covered, some, again, out of chronological order. We definitely talked about that last time. Tarantino does it, other people do it. So now we're getting some backstory, some origin filler, not filler, but explanation and first time access to long ago Agatha with her son. So they definitely, again, here comes all the rising action and the apex of the action, and then what do you do after that? And instead of just wind down and wrap up, then here we're going to wing you back a few hundred years and try to sort out again, who is Agatha? How did she get to become who she is? And as I said before, we could look up who, as I said before when we were speaking last time, who is Nicholas Scratch, and that Google away at Nicholas Scratch. And now here comes Nicholas. Now I'm coughing. Is her son. And, the whole thing between Death and Agatha and the pleading and let me keep him for a while. And she had to be thinking, as she was saying that, well, a while, but I'm going to find a way to vanquish death and keep my son alive for years and years. So it's a lot going on in that backstory.
It's a lot going on in the backstory. There is more backstory for Agatha, and it's in WandaVision. There's the episode, the penultimate episode of WandaVision, where we get to see part of Wanda's origin story, where she is at the stake, and you think that the people around her are people who are her against witches, and then it turns out that that's her coven. And then she kills all of them, including her own mother, taking the locket as her own. And it's chilling for sure. I'm not sure where the story would welcome folks in the comments to add in if you happen to know or have a guess. I don't know where in the story Nicholas exists, right? So does that happen after the moments that happen in WandaVision where she kills her mother, or is it before?
I'm going to
I,
say, without them having made it perfectly clear, I will say that again, as they're telling the story out of chronological sequence,
yeah.
I will say first, she was found as too witchy of a witch by her own mother and her own coven. And in their attempt to rein her in, then she brought about all of their deaths. Time passes. She gives birth to Nicholas. And then with baby Nicholas, she
Right.
finds another coven to be the second of the covens that she brings to their combined death.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I guess the tell is the locket itself. Okay, so that does make sense. Um, the uh, the patience of telling the story of Nicholas is really all the more tragic. All the more tragic. You know, you have ideas, right? Oh, who's Nicholas Scratch? You know, oh, okay, well, this sounds like more demonic type of figure, right? And so you expect to see that, and no, it's a little boy, right? And I was reflecting through the wonders of Facebook. I saw this piece about Ricardo Montalban in The Wrath of Khan, and in his portrayal, how he did this performance is understanding that for many of the villains, they don't actually think they're the villain. They have their own motivations. They have what's driving them, and so that's different than thinking, "Oh, I'm a bad guy." Yeah, 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 yeah. In this case, I think Agatha does think that she is kind of the villain. That she
I'll give you
knows
that.
she
I'll
is
give you that.
she is a
With
villain,
exception.
right? She's truly the villain, but she also does love her kid, love Nicholas Scratch, and feels the pain and tragedy of having lost him. That somehow, right, the stories that have been made up about how, what happened to Nicholas Scratch, that she traded him, killed, let him die in exchange for the Darkhold, that felt better than death took him, right? There's so much happening in that, and that yeah, I just and so when it happens, when Nicholas is taken away on the one day that uh, Agatha didn't make them, kill witches, it is chilling and sad, and then immediately gets into the origin of, well, this is where the Witch's Road legend came from. It came from a song that the two of them had made up together.
Something that was kind of innocent and charming between mother and child, and then she converted that into her trap and her bait and her means to to kill all the other witches that she killed. I want to jump.
Oh
So
yeah, let's do that.
Nicholas Scratch. So tell me, help me remember So I'm talking old movies now. Back to our youth. I'm
Okay.
talking Ralph Macchio, and I believe it was Jamie Gertz. And was it Lightning Boy, the blues one, where Ralph Macchio is a young blues guitarist?
Oh yes, Crossroads. Yes.
There it is. Crossroads is the name of the picture. In the movie Crossroads was the first time I learned that Old Scratch was a nickname for the devil. So when they're saying Nicholas Scratch in the earlier episodes, I think, okay, is that going to be some devil connotation there? So whether it's more a general red herring to put the last name of Scratch on him, or is it supposed to be something more specific, that there is a devil Palpatine kind of uh, father influence in there, or something? So I just wanted to that was brewing around in my head with the name of Scratch. But now here, so in our history, I've only gone on one rant of only for however many shows we've done.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see over the next few minutes if it stays at rant count 1 or if I enact my second rant here as I go.
Need a seatbelt
So
here.
the previous rant, which I'm referencing, big fan of 80s Marvel and big fan of Hercules and Zeus. But in Thor: Love and Thunder, the depiction of Zeus was my previous rant. The cinema character of Zeus was too different from traditional Marvel Zeus. So that was my sole rant to date. Agatha, as we're saying, she knows she's a villain.
Yeah.
No. I did set the stage.
The door is open now. Yeah.
Agatha knows she's a villain. She as we're hearing is Joker like through the trauma and all that. She kills Coven number 1, including her mom. The second Coven, as least as I can depict, right? She steps over the little rocks into the circle because this other Coven was ready to help her feed her infant, and she wipes them all out. Then she's using her kid as bait to continue. So I don't know what her murder count is. We say in the world of the Universal monsters that the Invisible Man had the highest kill count because he took out the entire train. And so all the train passengers on the train was a higher total killing than, say, Frankenstein going around here and there around the village. Okay. So Agatha's kill count and the degree to which she is deceptive, using the same bit over and over to take somebody down on their luck.
Yeah.
Because in that first one, then or for her third murder ring. So it's right, she's there at her son's burial site, and this lonely, I have great need. And so, well, then we must go get a coven. And then there's the third, and then they show the progression through the years. Like this is, as we're saying, Dr. Doom, Magneto, the Joker. You think of the big score villains here, and she. It's so much so that this disturbed her methodology of deception and repeated murder disturbed me. Now I still enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed the production, but the content, the material, I'm like, this is a lot of murders here. This is too much for me.
It is certainly dark for sure. No, absolutely. Oh yeah, and then just back here. Yeah, well, after she killed her mom and the Salem 7, she became a spiral killer, a serial killer. Yeah, for sure. Yes, serial killer. Absolutely. And I think that's another aspect of this series that I really enjoyed and appreciated. Again, you think that the witches who died are going to come back, and then they decide, no, when you are dead, you are dead. And with this kind of show, kind of like, so I talked about the Venom a little bit. Me and my son watched it, and the more that I think about this movie, the less I like it. And so I need to just stop thinking about it. There's a lot wrong with it, but with what they're doing, right? You got this anti-hero kind of thing, or whatever it is. The villain's not necessarily a villain. I mean, Venom is supposed to be a villain, or has been treated as a villain, but instead, it's he's a good guy. It's just like they're two friends. They're in the same body. And so with Agatha, they danced this line so well, where you can sort of empathize with her, or you like her, or you want to like her. And Catherine Hahn in her performance does a brilliant job at that. But no, in that final episode, she has killed across centuries. She has used this con that somehow people easily got lured into. You didn't sing the song well, and so now you're gonna try to attack her. And that's how she sucks.
And so what made those other witches who joined her coven, and let me take a quick right-minded witch, what right-minded witch would join a coven with Agatha Harkness? And again, the clever comeback line, who's looking for right-minded witches? But then for each of them, the sell job, the convincing she does, oh, well, you're up against the wall in this regard. You're no longer at the peak of what have you got to lose.
Yeah.
So in each case, there was a desperation for all of those people coming into their social contract together with her. And I'm going to bridge this also. It bothers me in the Alice in Wonderland story when we're talking about the walrus and the carpenter, and the walrus lures all those tiny little sea creatures into his sandwich, and then he starts chomping them away. In a similar way, that bothers the idea of deception of the innocent or the vulnerable. What is she doing?
I don't think I've ever seen Alice in Wonderland all the way through. I saw it in the theater way too young. You know, it's like when they would cart out the Disney movies and you go to the theater and stuff like that. And I saw it way too young, and I'm pretty sure I had to have been escorted out. Yeah, I haven't gone back
at that
since.
exact moment.
Probably that. I mean, it's a scary movie. If you're too young watching that movie, it's too scary for sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The ability to let this, the ability to create an episode that made you care about Agatha, right? Empathize for her, care about Nicholas, and then to do the turn like, no, she is still the villain. She's still the same person that you've been watching. She's still the same person that killed Sparky the dog in WandaVision. She is still, which is somehow like
the least of her kills.
The least of her kills now, right? It's just like the least thing that somehow it's the less bad, the least bad of all the things, all the people that she's killed, right? It's just yeah. It's scary. It's a scary stuff, man. It's certainly scary. But yeah, again, just the stellar writing to be able to stitch all of that together, to bring us on that journey, to unfurl the, oh my goodness, right? They unfurl that all of this was in Billy's creation, and people died because of that creation. Just brilliant writing here.
Yeah.
And certainly, yeah, I want to go back to the echo, the mention of the practical sets. And I think there's so much here that feels right for a TV series. I don't mind necessarily when CGI is used or where it's used effectively, but when it's used as a cheat for bad storytelling, yeah, then that's a problem. But here, the writing is stellar, the sets are stellar. It feels so grounded. It makes you wonder what you're watching. And then this gift of, after seeing all these things, it makes you want to watch everything over again, even starting all the way back to WandaVision, which I have not watched in a very long time. It just makes you want to watch all of it again. Oh, and let me. I want to also come back to something that is a reminder. Yeah, that she made Nick from scratch. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there are no spells. There are no men here, right? It's the relationship between Death and Agatha, and yeah, that is it. All right, and so let's see. Yes, I love Agatha for some traumatized reason. I want more of this for sure. And okay, let's come back around to that one. So she said she couldn't. Victor writes, she said she couldn't cure, protect, or guess when her son would die. All she needed was a coven, and it said she didn't trust anyone.
So because she was so into who she was, immutable, laser focused in on being Agatha the witch killer, maybe if she would have been able to see things in a different way and had a protection witch involved, or maybe just she knew death is non-negotiable. But that maybe if she would have been able to have a proper coven of trust with the other witches, maybe that would have been a thing to help out poor young Nicholas. So in that regard, maybe she, you know, defeated her own ends, or destroyed her own son.
Yeah. I'm looking at my notes if there's other things about the finale to cover before I get to some more of the comments here. No, I think we wove in other things. Other things you want other things to add about the finale before we get to some comments. And would you like a next season?
I do want to see more, and the comments are kind of
Yeah.
referencing whether the possibilities would be. I'll just pull off to the side here. Soundtrack wise, they didn't play Agatha All Along the song again, but now
That's right.
it makes sense because that was so lighthearted and comedic, and it's a very very different track than the Witches Road track. But also musically, every time I hear Tommy, I'm thinking of the Who. Tommy, can you hear me? So I don't know. Will Tommy, can you hear me get played in a future episode? We will have to wait and see for that. But obviously, they're trying to put together a Young Avengers. Maybe that's a little bit complicated now. But by the time they get there, I was going to say because of the character Stature, who is the daughter of Ant-Man, who is Cassie Lang, is the character's civilian name. By that time, it'll be so distant from Quantumania that the missing elements of Quantumania shouldn't be in any way a deterrent from a Young Avenger set being well built to have the two twins and whichever other characters may be assembled into a MCU Young Avengers compared to the originating on paper characters of the Young Avengers.
Yeah, the parts are there, right? The bones are there for bringing the Young Avengers group together. Yeah, for sure. I was curious, right? Back when we were talking about WandaVision on a weekly basis, how are they going to fast forward time, right? The Billy and Tommy are kids, what, I don't know how old, but 7, less than, or 7 or 10 years old, or whatever it is. They're little kids. So how are you going to be able to age them up to be in this story? With the pace of things, Haley Steinfeld and Miss Marvel and the other, they're getting older. Like, I'm not sure how old Robert Downey Jr. is, I think 60 or something,
60.
right? Yeah. So unless they start accelerating some time here, folks are getting a little bit older. But still, yeah, I was curious how they were going to bring together the Young Avengers, and now we can see the pieces are there. All right, okay. So let's get to some comments here. Okay, and so I think I think they can expand this MCU, which universe for sure. I watched WandaVision, and yeah, absolutely. And do you think Wanda will come back? So, actually, before that one, earlier this morning, I rewatched that penultimate episode of WandaVision, just so I could see more, remind myself of the origins of Agatha, at least in that series. I didn't remember, because it's been so long. I didn't remember that was the episode where Vision and Wanda fall in love with each other, right? And they have that conversation on the edge of the bed where she is grieving, and Vision says that line, "What is grief but love everlasting?" And I literally felt a weight in my chest. I literally felt like somebody had just pushed on the center of my chest. It just hit so hard. Still one of the most impactful and insightful moments of the MCU ever. But yeah, absolutely want to rewatch everything again. So I feel like everything is there, and there's been the comments that now the Scarlet Witch might be more of a central figure in the movies going forward. Um, what's your prediction here, Mr. C?
I mean, again, there's so many moving pieces. Like what
Yeah.
comes up in the third Doctor Strange picture, and when does or do they totally divorce themselves of the Scarlet Witch content and character and come back to what was set up in Doctor Strange 1, which is a battle with Mordo, in comics known as Baron Mordo. But here's what I'll say: I think it behooves. Who am I to tell Kevin Feige about behooving? But
Mm-hmm.
I think the character deserves a chance at a redemptive arc again because of the wild discrepancy between how she was portrayed in WandaVision and how she went off the deep end or had her, you can die the hero if you live long enough, you become the villain. How she had lived long enough to become the villain in the second Doctor Strange picture. But let's say this: if you're having this young magic powered Wiccan Billy character going around, and if Agatha is somewhat of the familiar now or the Ben Kenobi ish trainer, so power set wise, there's absolutely room to bring Wanda back in some kind of a way. I would like to see a redemptive arc to Wanda, and just jumping around in the comments, especially as when traditionally you and your brother are the children of Magneto, and you're in Magneto's brotherhood of evil mutants, but at that time you're not really aware that Magneto is your father, but he's putting your life at risk. Like, they here, go fight the X-Men, but but maybe you'd rather pal around with the X-Men in the Danger Room Lounge or what have you, but go battle. So the twins had a rough time coming up. Give the kids a break. Let them have some their own Ben Kenobi moment for the Young Avengers or something like that.
Yeah. I want to get to a thread here from Victor about let's see here. Yeah, so Agatha or Jen joining the Midnight Suns team?
I'm all for it. I would prefer Jen because I don't have the negative history with her that I now have with Agatha. But and again, let Marvel not spread itself too thin. But boy, to get a no disrespect to Nick Cage's Ghost Rider, but to get a more spiritual base, to get a more mythological story base in a Ghost Rider movie versus trying to highlight the extreme sports side or the motorcycle stunt side of things to instead of appealing to that set of cultural things, to get right into the lore of when you make a deal with the devil, what comes of that. So that would be so cool if that kind of Ghost Rider, that kind of Midnight Suns story points get utilized. And so to see a Jen or an Agatha in that, I think that would fit well.
I enjoyed even more the Ghost Rider that appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider story I thought was very well done. I would love to have seen more of that character, and then the story moved on in the next season. I would love to see even that same actor whose name is escaping me. I really loved that story. No disrespect to the genius of Nicolas Cage in his performance, but yeah, no, absolutely. What will the Vision quest be like? Vision creating a family, just like the comics, or trying to help Tommy, Billy's brother? I haven't heard about Vision Quest in a while. I know this was among the things announced some time ago. But then we've had that pivot, right, with Bob Iger trying to dial back on the volume of content. So are we still getting a Vision Quest? It would seem to make sense, but
did they sign Matthew Modine for Vision Quest? And if so, have they talked to Journey and Steve Perry, and will we get another shot at Only the Young Can Play?
Oh man, yeah, that's an awesome deep cut. Uh, yeah, from where Vision Quest will be about Wiccan. I mean that would make sense as a story. That would make sense as a story. That's where to go, for sure. All right, so
All
let's
right.
see. Jim Campbell asks, speaking of witches, how did Wanda learn to be a witch? Was that ever discussed? So it is covered in that penultimate episode, which I don't remember the name of. Um, that she appears to have some witch-like abilities, some abilities when her family is killed. Her parents are killed. She's standing. She's next to Pietro, hiding under this sofa. But then there's this Stark Industries bomb in front of her, and so you think that she's going to kill. And then Agatha says, "Oh well, you use a probability spell or something else like that." And then in the next scene, it's her interacting with the Tesseract, or the stone in Loki's scepter, and then that's what seems to unlock her powers. How she becomes then the Scarlet Witch, that she gets those abilities.
And Jimmy Pale, pull your log up near the fire.
Oh boy.
Fanboy G has covered the cinematic side of things. Let me take us back to the pages of the comics. So again, it's a very stacked and retconned history to the Scarlet Witch and to Quicksilver. So first, they're mutants. They have a hex power before it was even called a altering probabilities of things. It wasn't quite considered a reality altering power at the time. So then comes a time moving out of the 60s into the 70s in the Avengers pages as Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch became Avengers at the same time. Hawkeye did a bunch of converted villains now hanging out with Captain America. It fast forward through a bunch of Avenger stuff, and there's the time where the Fantastic Four character of Agatha Harkness comes over to help Wanda learn actual spells and witchcraft. I believe the hex power was either offline, as one might say now, or her powers fizzed out, or that kind of a thing. So, comic wise, mutant power first, then added on the elements of witchcraft through the tutelage of Agatha Harkness, which is why, again, this whole, as we're seeing it now on Disney Plus, is such an inversion of, I mean, Agatha on paper, and I haven't read a lot of her stuff, but she's babysitting Franklin Richards. So that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
again, character is a babysitter. Let's have her be an evil babysitter. Character helps train for powers. But the reworking of it to take
Mm-hmm.
a base element out of the comics and to put such a different angle to it onto the screen. It's a big leap that they did. I hope I answered your question in full, Mr. Campbell.
That was well done. That was well done. I mean, and also from other comments here, right? That there is some interpretation or generosity in taking the established comic lore, which may be somewhat fluid or gets rewritten or whatever happens to it, and applying it here in this setting. We were chatting before we got on here. I did know that death was in. I'm not as well read as you, but I did know that death is in the Marvel comics. But I remember it from the Infinity Gauntlet story, right? And so the relationship between Thanos and Lady Death. I remember that. And somewhere amongst my Marvel Universe figures are this tall, literally about this tall. I have a Lady Death figure. It was something I had picked up some years ago. But yeah, so there is some interpretation that happens between the MCU and the comics. All right, so just conscious of time, so I'm gonna try to hit one more thing, okay, a couple more comments of them, and then we'll talk about a next whether you would like how would you like the next season to go. All right, so noted that Billy cast the Witch's Road under great stress and while trying to escape the Salem 7, just like mutants.
Well stated, Victor.
That's good. Yeah, I'm so much more into the witches than any other Avengers, and X-Men is a fave too. I mean, yeah, I mean the bar is set, right? The bar is set between both WandaVision and and Agatha All Along, and also the arc that Wanda had, in at least in the MCU, except for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, there's so much there. There's so much lore that's built in there. You care about these characters for sure, and want to see it continue. All right, uh, let's see. So I think I know the answer, Mr. C. But would you like to see another season of this?
Tee it up. I mean, do I hesitate? Because it did bother me, right? The whole idea of taking somebody who's in a vulnerable, desperate situation time and time again. Did that bother me about the character? Yes,
Absolutely.
but it was quality writing. So that being said, if they're carrying on the quality writing, then the barkeep, line me up again. Let's go another round.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thank you for the compliment. That's very kind. With the series, I mean it got you right. It got you to really love these characters, love the story. It brought you in, and it people use that expression "stuck the landing," right? With the finale or whatever's the final act, and yeah, it stuck the landing for me. It was kind of a flawless series. Sometimes you watch different TV shows or different TV series. There's this filler episode here. And I'm like, I don't have that feeling at all with this series. I was engaged and I was engrossed. They took, some of the kitschy elements, right, of WandaVision, where it was a different set of costumes from episode to episode, but it had meaning, right, and it moved the story forward. They did this trials thing, and it all just sort of worked, or it all worked, and they didn't cheat. Agatha's still the villain. She is still the bad guy. I don't think that just based on this conversation, I don't think that she has all of the best intentions with Billy. I don't think the evidence is there. Um, oh, Jim Campbell says, when is Doctor Strange sidekick dude getting? Yes, when is Wong getting his own series? What was the character in She-Hulk? Where Madison? Remember?
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Where those Wong and Madison just really seem to hit it off, So I'm down for that. It might be a one-off episode. I don't know if I need to see
Maybe
six.
Wong could, like go outside and go venture forth out into the world away from Madison here and there. Maybe Madison's not so bad for an appearance here and there, but
Oh, I would love it. I would love to see Madison come back. That was definitely a memorable character. You see, I haven't seen Joker 2 yet, only because the reviews have been so poor. I think I wasn't a fan of the first Joker because it made me so unsettled. I think it's a brilliantly executed movie, but it was so unsettling as a film that and based on the reviews, I think I'm good. All right. Well, any final comments before we wrap up here, Mr. C?
Content wise, no, but it was great to have new faces in the comment section.
Absolutely.
It was great to have the return of Blue Sasquatch. I don't have a
Yes.
timestamp on our last time around for Blue Sasquatch, but Blue, if you're out there, then what is it, Fanboy Cantina Gmail. Hit us up, Blue.
Oh yeah.
We'll get you a T-shirt. We'll get you a coffee mug. You're probably clowning on us, but I remain sincere in my pledge to get to Blue Sasquatch, either or both, the coffee mug and the Fanboy Cantina T-shirt.
I don't know where this coffee mug exists, but again, I'm still waiting for my own coffee mug.
Because we
From
would clown around about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
coffee
yeah,
and the
so
coffee mug, and I had the leprechaun coffee mug and all that stuff, and there was speculation of what is Mr. C drinking out of either the
that's
leprechaun
right.
coffee cup or the coffee cup of the whichever other ones I had on the screen 3 years ago and change.
That is awesome. See, I would have loved Madison to come back.
Oh my.
But I think it was with two Y's. Is that the shtick? Is there some kind of like?
I
Anyways,
suppose that might be.
yeah, right, okay, and yeah, Wong is one of the few that have been in both. Yes, all the way around, and yes, thank you so much for joining, and do appreciate you joining the Fanboy Cantina. Really appreciate it. All right, well, I think that's gonna wrap us up here. Just thank you so much for all of the comments and joining in the fun with the two of us here. Hey, Mr. C, let's do the YouTubey things. Where can people follow Mr. C? Where can people keep up
There,
with you?
Mr. C.
Oh, yeah,
Dives in, no underscores, no none of that stuff.
Right there.
Right there. Okay, Mr. C dives in right there on the crawl. Again, my third live stream in 2 days. Last night I was talking my Svengoolie business with Nanette, recapping the Nightmare on Chicago Street in Elgin. And because Svengoolie showed the classic 1931 Boris Karloff mummy last night, I went in to start my mummy playlist and my mummy collectibles, telling mummy stories. Future stuff I have coming will be the independent movie The Creep, produced by Gary Ray, who I've had on my channel showing his art. So looking forward to getting to I haven't reviewed an independent picture on my channel before, so looking forward to that. Well, blah blah blah. There's a whole lot of content. So there's only so many hours in the day, so more good stuff coming around. That's all I got.
Awesome.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is excellent. Thank you, Mr. C, for spending time with me and with everybody here with the fun. Do appreciate it, and yeah, if you're watching, do us a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe, all the YouTubey things. Would love to have you here on the Fanboy Cantina. Thank you for spending a little bit of your Sunday with us. I'm going to close this out. Thanks for watching. This has been the Fanboy Cantina. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Only the young can play.